Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and a massive day dawns here for the seeding for the Stage 3 Major. Two incredibly important matches going on later today. We'll talk about those in a few minutes time, but also it is very clear right now that some teams in the CDL aren't necessarily looking too hot, and there's been a lot of discussion in the last couple of days about how much these players are actually trying to improve. But I'm trying to take your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's dive into this first of all from Priestahh. Something really cool is happening soon. I cannot wait for you guys to see. An unknown object has arrived in Verdansk. What happens, what lies beneath the tarp. And well, as you can see right here, this is what comes along. They've got this thing which, well, looks incredibly like the Call of Duty League trophy, right? You can see kind of the three dots along the top here. You can actually see this that Cheetah points out. Could it be a CDL trophy? Because if you look at the bottom of the thing, it looks like champion. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder if there's more to this than just the CDL trophy has arrived. Because given the fact that Priestahh's talking about it, you mentioned maybe it's to do with, well, Dallas Empire's World Championship win last season, so maybe Priestahh gets his, like, head engraved on it or something. Some type of Mount Rushmore situation, maybe. I don't really know what they're going to exactly do with this, and maybe there's more to it than just this trophy landed, but I thought it was pretty cool to look at regardless. Also, this from Madamu Grayson over at the Toronto Ultra, unveiling their new 15,000 square foot facility in, well, downtown Toronto, as I'm sure Methodz would like to say. So proud to reveal the amazing work of our team that has made this happen, so really cool. Probably going to step up their, well, content game to some degree as well. They've been putting out some great stuff over their YouTube channel. Also, as Marky B says, the scenes in the 15,000 square foot facility in the heart of downtown Toronto doing that control were fantastic. Absolute chaos. Certainly a phenomenal map that we had yesterday. Los Angeles Thieves versus the Subliners, if you guys didn't get a chance to watch. Thought this was a little interesting as well on the subject of downtown inner city, as TJ says, beautiful day here in downtown Dallas. And well, of course, well, I guess that's where Los Angeles Thieves are based. But there has been some interesting questions as to exactly what's going to be happening with TJ. Clearly a very talented player. One of the more talented SMG players, I think, really in Call of Duty history. Certainly a lot of success in past years, especially. Anyway, he finds himself in a tough spot with Huke coming into the starting lineup now for the Los Angeles Thieves. Will he get his shot back in the starting team? Because TJ and Huke did play together way back in the Advanced Warfare days, so I do wonder whether they're keeping him around just to say, okay, is the Venom thing going to work out? Do we bring TJ back into the squad? Is that going to work out? Because, of course, they were looking very good with TJ these last couple of weeks before they did bring Huke in. A change that, of course, you are going to make if you do get the opportunity to do so. So I wonder whether they will keep TJ around, or whether he could, well, find his services be used somewhere else, because there's been a lot of discussion as to where TJ could go, what teams could he potentially improve, and yeah, the thought processes around Dallas right now, especially for myself, it's like, okay, we look at this squad, Crim, ILLey, Shotzzy, and FeLo as it is right now. Can I see that team winning the World Championship in a few months' time? I'm not necessarily sure I can. Then again, can I necessarily give you a change that's going to make that squad World Championship contender outside of, bringing Huke back into the team, or, bringing Clay back, or something along those lines? It's somewhat difficult to say right now. They've been looking pretty tough, but well, later today they play up against Minnesota Rokkr. That is not going to be easy for them, especially because every single time they seem to play Minnesota Rokkr, or really any time Rokkr play anyone, it goes game 5. So it could certainly come all the way down to the wire tonight. But yeah, well, whether TJ gets a shot somewhere, I think Crimsix and TJ have definitely had their fair share of a little bit of beef over the years, so I wonder if that'll necessarily work on Dallas. But I guess we'll have to see how things go going forward. We've seen so many surprising changes so far this season. I would not be shocked to see another one over the coming weeks. This from Temp as well. He's writing down notes. Not really sure what's going on here. But of course, the Paris Legion had a very tough time in their group, so you're kind of thinking exactly what is going on here. Something to keep an eye on, certainly. But wanted to touch on this. There was some discussion on the flank a couple of days ago regarding, well, some of the pros right now not necessarily really trying to improve significantly. This is what Crimsix says back in March. How did Modern Warfare Pro 10s have daily 3 to 4 series per night, yet Cold War Pro 8 happen 3 to 4 times a week? The TeamSpeak is dead by 11:30 every night. What are y'all doing? And we talked about this at the time, and it kind of got brought up again by Zoomer a couple of days ago. The fact that right now, if you look at the league, you're looking at, well, some of these teams, some of these pro players that have been around a very long time, and you don't really see these 8s happening so much anymore. So the way 8s would typically work is you get a couple of captains, they then pick their team, you go through, I mean, you would typically put like $20 each on the line or something, but I'm pretty sure now they're not allowed to do that to CDL players technically, because it's like gambling or something, but they can still do like regular 8s, and the Challengers players still do regular 8s all the time. And I mean, saying Challengers players is a little bit strange, because a lot of these players that are in the Challenger side have been formerly pro players, but it's quite rare that you see a number of pro players in the TeamSpeak at the same time playing 8s like you used to back in the day. That was one of the things that really got me into Call of Duty a few years ago, was watching these streams happen. I used to watch, like, of course, OpTic would stream their scrims back in, team scrims and stuff, way back in Black Ops 3 was really when I started watching Karma, especially. I think it was so awesome to watch their team scrims, and I think that's some of the premium Call of Duty content you can get. But just after that, it was like watching Pro 8, right? They would all get into a lobby after scrims, and then they would choose captains and play through, and that was pretty entertaining to watch as well. We don't really see much of that anymore. If you are going to see 8s on the timeline, most of the time you're going to be seeing, well, Saints and, as you can see right here, Methodz / TJ need 4 for money 8s, or, you know, just 8s in general. They used to be called money 8s, as I just mentioned. But a lot of the time, you don't really see too many of your pro players actually in these lobbies anymore, and it's kind of confusing why that's the case. And as I say, that the fact that Methodz, Slasher, and TJ are no longer considered pro players is somewhat strange. But a lot of these teams that are struggling right now, you would have thought that their pros would have been on some sort of schedule where, okay, that, you know, they get on in the morning, they play pubs or whatever. Like, this is what Gunless used to do. He'd go on and play pubs. I'm pretty sure then he'd like play all his team scrims, like a couple of team scrims. That'd be a fair few hours. Then he'd get on and play 8, and then when everyone got off from 8s, he would then continue playing pubs for the rest of the night. And that was just like the grind when he was the best player back in World War II, or at least right up there as the best player. Nowadays, not necessarily considered as such. Still, of course, very talented indeed. But there are some questions right now about how much these players are actually wanting to win, given the fact that they doesn't seem to be too willing to play 8s. And a lot of the time that the 8s lobbies are actually the challengers players trying to make it in the Pro League. So it kind of seems like a lot of the players that are actually making it into the Pro League then kind of get there. They're kind of enjoying their spot and chilling out, but they're not actually trying necessarily to improve as much as they could, because 8s is, of course, a great way to get practice against other pro players. It's obviously not the perfect practice by any means, but it's still better than not playing anything at all, I would imagine. And this may be one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of these challengers players come through very quickly indeed to the Pro League. And well, Doug Martin potentially one of them, dropping 64 limbs here back in February now.
Unless people are in TeamSpeak talking about it, like the only way I'd really know how teams are playing would be like TeamSpeak, but like TeamSpeak's been dead. No one's playing 8s for some reason. The later in the season it gets, when the stakes get higher, less pros play COD. It's the most insane thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Yeah, how are it's dead right now? What's up with that?
We're on
day 16, I think. It's weird. And we were talking about this last night. I just don't understand why it's dead. Like, why, especially with some of these people who are just complete.
So right now, race them down for 8s.
Yeah, if you guys need to, 100%. I mean, it's crazy how just there's teams that are just really underperforming. There's players who are underperforming. There's just no extra time being put into the game. It just seems like people don't care sometimes, which is like
a little bizarre, Tom.
Which is why if you're a player, you're not performing well, you're not putting in the extra time, and you lose your spot. I don't want to hear no bitching, because there's people in challenges who play all day. I see challengers 8s happening. I don't see regular. There's people in challenges who are grinding, and you got these pro players. And keep in mind, professional, that aren't even putting in the extra time. So it's just weird to me. I was a professional player for 8 years, and I was always grinding, and everybody around me was always grinding. I was an ongoing cycle. There was never a time period where I was not grinding. Never. There would be time periods where I wasn't playing 8s for sure, but I think for the most time I was always putting time into the game, always watching VOD, always putting in that extra work in 8s. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I feel like times are changing. I feel like they are.
So let's talk about these games that are going on later today. So the first match of the day is Seattle Surge versus the Royal Ravens. This is a pretty big game in a sense, just to see how these teams are faring. It doesn't affect anything in terms of the standings. We can look at the standings here right now. So as you can see down here, I mean, London Royal Ravens and Seattle Surge are locked in 5th and 6th in this group. So okay, nothing really is going to change here, but it's going to be interesting to see, because Seattle clearly have been improving. Well, it seems like they were improving somewhat against their FaZe. They looked relatively decent. Octane's been talking about the fact that he's been enjoying their progress, and he might be able to win the 10th series of his Seattle Surge career, I suppose, and get over the hump that we talked about yesterday. The fact that back in CDL Champs 2019, he won 9 series at a single tournament on 100 Thieves. The Royal Ravens, of course, also been looking good. The only team to beat New York Subliners in this group, which is pretty remarkable to think about, right? Subliners sitting here topping the group at 4-1, beating FaZe, beating Thieves, beating OpTic, and beating Surge, of course. The only team they lost to was London, but that, I guess, kind of shows how competitive this league is right now. And of course, we'll look at Group B in a second, but well, actually, to be fair, that is the second match of the day. But firstly, we'll touch on the last match of the day, the marquee matchup. This, of course, is Minnesota Rokkr versus the Dallas Empire. It's the Dallas Empire's home series. That's why I think they get the crown to have the marquee match or whatever, the final match of the day. But I'm pretty sure the way this goes, whoever wins this series straight up qualifies for Group A, because right now Toronto are, well, locked to number 1. Of course, Florida are locked number 2. The first time I believe they've got to the winners bracket, which is good stuff for them. Certainly shows that this Havoc move is paying off. And then Dallas or Minnesota. Tough, honestly, to call this series series, given the fact that Rokkr and Empire always seem to go game 5. Rokkr clutched up last time they won a game 5, but at the same time, Dallas also clutched up against LAG when they won a game 5. At the same time, Dallas just got 3-0'd by the Florida Mutineers, just a couple of days ago. So to me, I think Rokkr should be slight favourites here, to be honest. Going to take them once again in a game 5, but it may not even get that close. Who really knows? But Rokkr just love to go game 5 with anyone. So I can see a banger series right here. But the other series of the day, which really is the key one, is FaZe versus OpTic Chicago. This group B, we always thought, wow, what's going to happen down here? Which of these 4 teams are going to fail to make it out to the winners brackets? Subliners and Thieves are confirmed at number 1 and number 3 seeds respectively. But the number 2 seed will not just go to the team that wins this series. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I did bring it up on screen for you guys yesterday, what I wrote down right here, which maybe is a bit confusing. So I'll bring up exactly what Claystat tweets out, which is the following. If OpTic wins 3-0, then the map counts are OpTic 4-3, Thieves 5-4, and FaZe 3-5. So OpTic would get 2, Thieves 3, FaZe 4. So if OpTic win 3-1, then the map counts are Thieves 5-4, OpTic 4-4, and FaZe 4-5 between the 3 teams. That's the way it works. It'll be a 3-way tiebreaker at 3-2, and therefore you look at the head-to-head map counts between the 3 teams, between like the 2 matches they played against the other teams. How does that look? So Thieves actually can still get second here, but if OpTic win 3-0, they get second, which is obviously a tough task. But look at this. This is the important one. If OpTic wins 3-2, the map counts are 5-4 for Thieves, 5-5 for FaZe, and 4-5 for OpTic. So therefore, OpTic still get losers despite winning. So all FaZe have to do is send this series tonight to a game 5, and FaZe will qualify in, I believe, the 3rd position. These will be in 2nd if that is the case. So OpTic have to beat FaZe 3-0 or 3-1 to make it to the winners bracket, which of course is far from an easy task by any means. And FaZe have been going game 5 lately with anyone, regardless of their caliber. It seems like, to be honest, FaZe have been kind of playing to the level of their competition. So I would not be surprised if FaZe can take it to a game 5. And if they do, I feel like OpTic will at that point know, I believe, that they'll be out of the running for winners. So I think FaZe are going to take it if it does go all the way to a game 5. But who knows what's going to happen? Lot on the line here, certainly. You know, the fact that OpTic Chicago or FaZe will be starting on losers is a remarkable thing to consider. But one of those 2 things is certainly going to happen. But intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I'm growing the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
What? How did you get it so
Wait,
fast?
it looks like Homer
Simp.
It does. It actually did.
Wait, what?
What?
Jesus Christ, this is so bad.
Wait, what is it?
What?
Dude,
What is this?
Wait,
What was that about?
Who just threw that?
why can't you just draw a yellow button?
There's actually no way!
Wait, who was that? Is it the same one?
That's Maddie, bro.
You couldn't draw a yellow button?
Bro,